programs that came out to work with us. Metals on all the boats had minor corrosion and an irregular coating of the linseed oil. So we did a lot of cleaning, removing the heavy bits of linseed oil and coating the metal with the wax to stabilize the corrosion. Now, this is the Escalante kayak of 1941. As Jan said, it's constructed of canvas and a rubberized canvas as well, stretched around a wooden frame. So you can see on the bottom and the middle there, there's a shot of the interior to get an idea of the wooden frame on the inside. And then the top is plain canvas that has been oiled, and we have a rib on the left there. And so that's been stabilized with the muslin backing on the right. So that's kind of a nice before and after. That's the kind of tear where people like to look in there, you know, and the tear just gets bigger and bigger. And on the bottom, there's some tie line staining on the bottom left, so you see the dark line there. I don't have a pointer, I think it's pretty evident. And then on the right, after cleaning, and that's the rubberized canvas, and you can also see some cracking in the rubber, but there's not much we can do about that. The Georgie is getting a sort of an infill, I guess, with polystyrene beads. And the reason we're doing this is because the Georgie cannot stay inflated on her own. We inflate it, and a week later, it's in this deflated state you see on the upper left. So we're going to be filling it with the polystyrene beads and sort of basically letting them float into the valve with an airbrush, actually using the precise airflow of an airbrush to let the beads just flow right in there. And on the top right, you can see some cleaning happening. So I'm going to kind of go into a little detail about the process of cleaning the Wen. The Wen's from 1938, and it was coated with linseed oil. And the linseed oil darkened and gathered a lot of dirt. So you can kind of tell here how dirty it is. And on the bottom right is the detail, so you can see some streaking, and you can see some darkness to that. There's a white paint underneath that. So we did some more warm water wet cleaning, and we also did another pH balance mixture to pick up the oil and the dirt layer. And so there's some really nice results. We got all the green back. In the bottom, here's a detail from inside the cockpit of the area that was cleaned. So it was really nice to see the original colors come back. And on the sides, getting the white paint back. So this process involved swelling the linseed oil layer with a warm water compress. And after a certain amount of time, that linseed oil layer got a little gummy, so to speak. And so then we were able to lift it off with swabs of acetone or ethanol. So we're all geared up here with our protective equipment and removing all that nasty stuff. So there's a nice little detail before and after. And we'll go before and after. It was kind of drastic for me to see something get so clean and so white, but I got over it when, you know, I knew what I was removing, and it was just the dirty linseed oil layer, and all the original paint is still there, and all the dents and dings and everything. And then when I went back on display, so this was a big positive. This happened earlier, July. So this has been very exciting. So on the bottom right, here it is at the visitor center, and we have a nice little wave plexiglass thing in front, so everyone can see it now. And that's our presentation. Thank you. So I'm just thinking I could update you that all of the boats will be completed with their conservation work by the fall of 2010. I have a crew coming up next week to work on finishing the Esmeralda and doing the 2 jet boats. So that'll be happening right now. So more votes will be done really quickly here, and we'll be cleaned up and ready to be exhibited.
Thank you.
Does anybody have questions? So besides having women's names for boats, can you tell us the history about women on the river and who the first woman was?
Well, the question is who was the first woman, and I think it depends on what you consider to be the first. The first woman to run through a rapid would be Cole's daughter, right? I'm looking at you guys over there, Brad back there. The first two women, like scientists, were Elzada Clover and Lois Jotter on the 1938 trip doing botany along in the canyon. I'm looking back.
Bessie High.
Oh, Bessie High. How could I forget Bessie? There's somebody who wrote a book all about her. But unfortunately, she didn't actually come out to tell her story. So.
Balsom. Ran the courtyard.
Oh, that's correct. So, and that's why the answer is it depends on exactly what you mean by ran the river. Okay. Other questions? Ryan?
As far as the Esmeralda and the other motorboats, what's left of the engines or the mechanized aspect?
You can take them out next week if you needed to. All of these boats, given that they were in the courtyard for 40 years, or in a lean-to at Glen Canyon, they're all in really good shape. Cosmetically, they've had issues. Brynn cleaned out the motor on the Esmeralda. I mean, they would be functional. Yeah. Let's go way to the back.
So the Esmeralda is being restored. Is that being restored in the same manner as the other Neville's and Mexican Hat boats, or are they being restored in separate projects?
All of the boats, so the question is, how are all the boats being treated the same? All the boats are being conserved. So none of them are actually being restored. I was only joking about being able to take it down the river. You really can.
I'll have Brad build one.
There you go. There you go. Tom?
What's the final decision about the Ross Wheeler?
Oh, the Ross Wheeler. The Ross Wheeler, how many folks here have been down the river and seen the Ross Wheeler? The Ross Wheeler is it's a significant boat. It's an important part of the history, and one of the nicest things for me about it is that it's still where it was left during its last trip. There have been two attempts to steal it from its location in the canyon. Once after the first time, we actually bolted it back to the rocks it sits on, and then a couple years ago, somebody tried to roll it, steal it again. So I mean, we have a real concern about its safety down there, whether or not it will be there for the future. Additionally, the hull of it is starting to rust out. So I mean, it's a really hard question to answer as to whether or not it's best to leave it in situ. We refer to that as in-field curation. Or would it be better to bring it up and have it with all of the other boats from that era? And I don't have an answer for you. I know that we're concerned. I mean, I was on a trip a couple years ago, and we stopped by to look at it. I'm not sure if it was the one that Brynn was on, but somebody had stashed a little inflatable boat in there to go across from the north and south bass. And there was all sorts of water in there, I don't know the answer. But for right now, it is where it is, and hopefully every time anybody goes by it, they'll check to make sure it's still there. Wayne?
Well, you have a lot of experts here. Why don't you just take an unofficial vote about the future of the Ross Wheeler? Very unofficial. Don't want to put you on the spot. Just unofficial.
I guess it's something about management decisions at Grand Canyon not being up for a popular vote. I think that's what I've been told. I don't know. I mean, that it certainly could. How many people would like to see it stay in place? And how many people would like to see it go? I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I think that's the decision on that is going to be one that I think the superintendent, who has a real interest in river history, will weigh in on. I don't know.